Again, we're finishing up our 1 month to live series. And the whole point of this series has been not to prepare you to die, but to prepare you to live the way Jesus wants you to live. See, I hope you're able to embrace everything God intends for your life. I hope you're able to live a life with passion, with excitement, looking forward to what God is going to do next. Over the last 4 weeks, we've talked about 4 principles. We've talked about living passionately, loving completely, learning humbly. And last week, we talked about leaving boldly, leaving this world behind and doing it boldly because we know what is waiting for us. Someone said your life is a gift from God. What you do with it is your gift to God. And I've talked with some of you, and you've said you've enjoyed this series, but you're having a hard time finding balance. How do you live like you only have 1 month to live? How do you live with that intensity while at the same time getting up and going to work and school every day? How do you live with passion when you have to do dishes, clean the house, mow the lawn? How do you do that? How do you find a balance? How do you live your life to the fullest in the day-to-day? Well, it comes down to passion. Jesus tells us the thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. I have come that you may have life and have it to the full. Jesus came to give you life, to give you enthusiasm, to give your life passion and excitement. God wants you to be a passionate person. And doctors are always trying to come up with new medicines to add years to our life so that we can live longer. But Jesus says, I have not come to add years to your life. I have come to add life to your years. He wants us to live a no-regret life. Now, the problem with John chapter 10, verse 10, is not that Jesus has a plan for your life. The problem is Satan has a plan for your life. See, Satan wants to steal, kill, and destroy because that is his plan for you. He wants to steal your hope and your excitement for life. He wants to kill the love inside of you, and he wants to destroy your hope and your dreams. This is always his goal and his purpose. But God has this wonderful plan for you. And he wants you to live your life the way he meant for you to live it. Jeremiah 29:11, God says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you, not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." But Satan's plan is to harm you, to take away your hope and your future. And he uses the stresses and the problems and the pressures of this world to do that. But think about your life right now. What are you passionate about? What are you passionate about? Now, you may be thinking, well, I'm not really passionate about anything. There's nothing that really gets me too excited or motivates me. And a lot of times the problem is it's the stress of life. It's the day-to-day stuff, and it's taken its toll on you, and it's pressed you down, and you don't know what else to do. You've lost your passion, and you don't know how to get it back. Well, passion for life is sort of like a puzzle. It's kind of like a puzzle. And there's pieces of the puzzle that you have to put together. And if you put those pieces together, you can figure out your life. You can figure out your passion. but we have to look at what is most important. What are the 4 most important things that we can do to live a passionate life and to leave this world with no regrets? Now, I've arranged 4 pieces of this puzzle, and it makes the acronym LIFE, L-I-F-E. And the first letter in the acronym is L, and L stands for love. Love is the most important piece of the Passion for Life puzzle. Love is the fuel that fires the passion in your relationships with other people, especially your spouse, especially your family members. It's the fuel that fires your passion for God. Love is also one of the passions for your job. And we don't always think about that, but you should be passionate for your job. Your job should be something you love to do, something you wake up and you look forward to doing it. They did a study. It was a cross-section of American workers, and they did a 20-year study. And they interviewed thousands of workers, and over this 20-year span of time, they came to the conclusion that if you love what you do and you do it long enough, you will be successful. If you love what you do it long enough, you will be successful. And that's not only at your job, it applies to every area of our lives. Success comes out of love in your marriage, in raising your kids. Success comes out of living for Jesus and sharing the gospel with others. Now, when we talk about being passionate and having a passionate love for our spouse, we need to be clear that there is a difference between love and lust. If you love something, then the more you do it, the more satisfied you are. But with lust, the more you do something, the less satisfied you are. Lust leaves you empty. Lust comes from selfishness and what I want. And that is why so many relationships fail. They think it's love, but really it's lust. And after that lust is satisfied, the relationship fails. A lot of people start out with great passion, but when it's based on lust, it's just not going to last. And so the foundational piece of this puzzle is love. In Revelation chapter 2, Jesus says, "You don't love me or each other as you did at first. Look how far you've fallen. Turn back to me and do the works you did at first." See, a lot of times we misunderstand love. We think of love as a feeling. You fall in love, you fall out of love. You love someone, and then you say, I don't think I love them anymore. I don't have the same feelings for them that I once did. But love is not a feeling. Love is a choice. As we said a few weeks ago, love is an action. You choose to love someone in spite of how you feel about them at that time. You put your love into action and you show them love regardless of your feelings at that moment. Too many people think that love is just a feeling, and when the feeling is gone, the love is gone, the relationship is done. A husband and wife had an argument one morning as they were getting ready for work. They got into this discussion. They started arguing and bickering with one another. Finally, they decided they couldn't reach a solution, so they just stopped talking to each other. The husband stayed in the bedroom. He continued to get ready for work. The wife, she went downstairs. She went into the kitchen. And for a while, there was no talking whatsoever. Finally, the husband, he got dressed. And he said, well, I need to go downstairs. I need to go to the kitchen and make my lunch. So he goes downstairs to pack his lunch. And when he gets there, his lunch is already packed. And it's sitting on the kitchen counter with a note. And the note says, "I love you with all my heart, but I'm still mad at you." And that's kind of how love is. Regardless of how you feel, you still love the person. You still do good things for them. You go back to your first love when you do those good things. I mean, look at the Revelation passage again. Jesus says, you don't love me or each other as you did at first. Maybe the feelings of love are gone. The excitement is gone. And because the excitement was gone, they stopped doing all the things that they used to do. He says, look how far you have fallen. They have drifted away and their relationship is failing. And then Jesus says, turn back to me and do the works you did at first. Jesus is saying love requires action. You have to do the works you did in the beginning. We don't do works, or we don't have these feelings, and so we do works. We do the good works, and the feelings come. See, when you choose to love, and your love takes action, it produces these powerful, passionate feelings. And it says in this verse that if you want to get that love back, do the work. Do the things you did at first. You know, sometimes people will say, well, I just don't feel in love anymore. And they're waiting for the feelings to come back all by themselves. And they tell themselves, well, when the feelings come back, I'll start doing the good things again. But that's not how it works. You start doing the good things again, and then the feelings come back. There was a couple who went to the doctor. The husband had not been feeling very well, and so they ran a bunch of tests on him, and they were meeting with the doctor to find out the results. And the doctor said, I'm really sorry to tell you this, but according to your results, you've got about 1 month to live. And of course, the husband and wife were both devastated, and the doctor said, look, if you don't mind, I'd like to talk to your wife alone for just a few minutes. And so the husband got up, he excused himself, and he went to the waiting room. The wife sat there with the doctor, and he said, your husband only has 1 month to live, but he can extend his life if you will do a few things for him. First of all, you have to make sure that he eats 3 good meals every day. You have to prepare 3 good meals. You also have to limit how much work he does around the house. Try to do all the work for him. Just kind of make sure he gets enough rest and relaxation every single day. Also, take good care of him. Pamper him a little bit. Okay? Let him really know you care about him. And also, make sure he gets 3 times a week, he gets a full body massage. 3 times a week. And the wife says, okay, thank you very much. And she left. She goes out to the waiting room, and the husband is sitting there anxious. He's like, what did the doctor say? And she said, you have 1 month to live. Now, that's not a very good example of love. But what did you do when you first fell in love? Did you spend extra time together? Did you show more affection? Were you a little more romantic? Did you offer more compliments? Did you show some kindness even though you didn't feel like it? See, most people are waiting for those feelings to come back before they do any of these things. But that's not the way it works. And it's the same with our relationship with God. Maybe you don't feel as close to Him as you once did. Maybe your relationship with Him is in a decline. And you look back at a special time in your life when you just felt so close to God. Like there were times when you were praying and you just thought, if I open my eyes right now, I know I'm going to see Him face to face. Maybe you felt so close, but now that's drifted away. And you pray and you wonder if He's even listening. You don't feel that same closeness. Well, what happened? Do you remember those old cars? They had the front seat was a bench seat instead of the bucket seats that we have now. The seat went all the way across. And there was a husband and wife, and they'd gone for a Sunday drive. The husband's driving. The wife is sitting over next to the door. She's leaning against the door, just looking out the window, watching the scenery go by. And the wife says, when we first got married, we would go for these drives, and we would sit side by side. And you'd put your arm around me, and you'd pull me in close. How come we don't do that anymore? Why don't we ever do that? And the husband is driving, and he says, honey, I never moved. She moved. She stopped scooting over to be with him. That's what made the difference. And when you look at your relationship with God, who moved? God hasn't moved. We've moved away from him. We've stopped doing the things we once did. And so we have to get back to that. We have to get back to loving God and serving him the way we used to. Now there's a second piece of the passion puzzle. And if you want to live a no-regrets life, you need integrity. I stands for integrity. And this is simply integrating what you say you believe into your daily actions. Integrity is living out your beliefs. See, if you have integrity, then no matter what happens or what challenges you may face, you are going to hold on to your core beliefs. Now, sometimes we compartmentalize our lives, and we act a certain way at work or a certain way at school, and then we act a different way at home with our family. We act a different way with our friends. And so we're different people depending on who we associate with. We act differently. We do things differently. We're compartmentalizing everything. Think of your life like a pie chart. There's all these different slices in the pie. Blue is your career slice or your school slice. Red, you have the family slice. Green, you have all these obligations, things that you have to do, and so that gets a slice. Orange, you spend time with friends and they get a slice. Yellow is your hobby slice, where you just get to do things that you enjoy doing. And then that purple slice up at the top, that is the God slice. That's what you give to God. And maybe for some of you, that's Sunday morning. This is your purple slice, and after this, you're done for the week. But God says, I don't want to be one little slice of pie in your life. I want to be involved in every part of your life. I want the whole thing. I don't want to be just one little slice. I want to be the whole pie. 3 weeks ago, we talked about the greatest commandments and the part God should play in our lives. In Mark 12, verse 30, it says, Jesus is asked, what's the greatest commandment? And he says, love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul, with all your mind and all your strength. And the word that keeps coming up there is the word all. God doesn't want a slice of your life. He wants it all. And if you believe Jesus is the Son of God and you want to have integrity, then you have to invite him into every area of your life. Into work, school, family, friends, obligations, everything. And then the third piece of the puzzle is F, and F stands for forgiveness. Have you ever been having a really good day? Everything's just kind of going your way. You're in a good mood. There's a spring in your step. Birds are singing. Everything is going fine. But then somebody says something to you or they do something to you and it just ruins the whole day. Nothing drains your passion faster than some type of unresolved conflict. Look what Job says in Job chapter 5. Surely resentment destroys the fool, and jealousy kills the simple. Resentment and jealousy can rob you of your passion faster than anything else. And that's why God says we need to learn to forgive others. Not just let them off the hook, but actually forgive them. We've all experienced somebody treating us poorly. They've done something that wronged us. And we want to forgive them. And sometimes we just let them off the hook and we say, well, that's okay. It's no big deal. But it was a big deal. And what they did is not okay. And we need to acknowledge that. We need to acknowledge that they have done something that wronged us. But then we need to extend that forgiveness. And forgiveness is hard, especially when the hurt is fresh. Sometimes it takes us a while to get to that place where we can really forgive. But we need to do it because forgiveness is so good for us. Christian author Lewis B. Smedes once said, "To forgive is to set a prisoner free and discover that the prisoner was you." We have to learn to forgive, and I realize that does not come easy. You know, we get hurt and we carry around this resentment and bitterness. We hold on to the anger, and it drains the passion out of our life. And the thing is, the person who hurt us could not care less. This anger and resentment that you're hanging on to, the bitterness that you're hanging on to, is not affecting them in the least. It is only hurting you. And Jesus knows that, and that's why he says you have to forgive. Have you ever been to the doctor and they told you, well, you need to eat better and you need to exercise more? Now, none of us want to eat better. We like eating badly. And we very rarely want to exercise. And so we don't do it. We don't want to eat better. We don't want to exercise, so we don't do it. But it is so good for you if you'll do it. If you'll eat better, if you'll exercise more, you will feel better. It'll be good for you. And it is the same thing with forgiveness. We don't want to forgive. We don't feel like forgiving. But it is so good for you when you do it. And you will feel so much better. So don't let your feelings dictate your actions. Instead, let your actions dictate your feelings. And you keep forgiving until your feelings change. In Matthew chapter 18, Peter comes up to Jesus and he asks, "How many times shall I forgive my brother or sister who sins against me? Up to 7 times?" Jesus answered, "I tell you, not 7 times, but 77 times." But even 77 is not the limit. See, Jesus is making a point, and he is saying, you forgive them as many times as it takes. And that is so hard. It goes against what we want to do. When someone hurts us, we don't want to forgive. And the worse they hurt us, the less we want to forgive. But Jesus did. Even when Jesus was hurting, he still forgave. And he is our perfect example for this. Even when he was hanging on the cross, even as they were shouting insults at him, he says, "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing." And if Jesus can forgive, even as he feels the weight and the pressure on the nails in his hands and his feet, if he can forgive even as the thorns scrape against his skull, if he can forgive as the rough wood on the cross rubs against his raw back, then we should be able to forgive others when they hurt us. And that's why Jesus said, when you stand praying, if you hold anything against anyone, forgive them, so that your Father in heaven may forgive you for your sins. We need to learn to forgive. as difficult as that is. And then the fourth piece of the passion for life puzzle is E for enthusiasm. We need to live a no regrets life with enthusiasm. Christian poet Oliver Wendell Holmes once wrote, "It's faith in something and enthusiasm for something that makes life worth living." If you have faith in Jesus, then you should be enthusiastic about it. You should be passionate about living. In fact, we should be the most excited, most passionate people on the planet because we have so much. We have the example of Jesus. We have the assurance of salvation. We have heaven waiting for us. And we have God's Holy Spirit living inside of us. How great is that? We should be the most passionate people in the world. A.W. Tozer is a theologian, and he wrote, "God dwells in a state of perpetual enthusiasm. He is delighted with all that is good and lovingly concerned about all that is wrong. He pursues his labors always in a fullness of holy zeal. No wonder the Spirit came at Pentecost as a sound of rushing mighty wind and sat in tongues of fire on every forehead. Whatever else happened at Pentecost, one thing cannot be missed by the most casual observer, was the sudden upsurging of moral enthusiasm. Those first disciples burned with a steady inward fire. They were enthusiastic to the point of complete abandon." That's how we should live, to the point of complete abandon. See, that's the point of this whole series. We don't want to hold back in life. We want to live it to the full. Everything we do, we want to give it our all. Paul says in Colossians 3, "Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart as working for the Lord." And he is saying, whatever you're doing, be passionate about it. When you're in school or on the job, be passionate about it as if you are doing it for Christ. When you're with your family, spend time with them. Enjoy their company as if you only have 1 month to live. Whatever you do, give it your best and live for Christ passionately. Tomorrow when you get up and you go to work or you go to school, when you're with your family, when you're doing those little things that nobody else notices, keep in mind God notices. He's there with you and He is watching over you. And those little things that you think nobody cares, nobody's paying any attention, this doesn't matter, it matters to God. He's noticing, He's paying attention. And those little things make a difference. As we conclude this 1 month to live series, I want to encourage you to hold on to your passion. Don't give up on it. And remember, this is not the end of your life. This is the first day of the rest of life.
Don't have a job,
Not yet.
don't pay your bills, won't buy you a whole Beverly Hills, won't fix your life in 5 easy steps. Government brother's keeper, so the whole world will know that we're not alone. It's waiting for you, knocking at your door. In the moment of truth, when your heart is the core, and you're on your knees, and love will hold us together, make us a shelter to weather the storm. And I'll be my brother's keeper, so the whole world will know that we're not alone. This is the first day of the rest of your life. This is the first day of the rest of your life. 'Cause even in the dark, you can still see the light. It's gonna be alright. It's gonna be alright. This is the first day of the rest of your life. This is the first day of the rest of your life. 'Cause even in the dark, you can still see the light. It's gonna be alright. It's gonna be alright. And love will hold us together, make us a shelter to weather the storm. And I'll be my brother's keeper, so the whole world will know that we're not alone.
What a great song. This is the first day of the rest of your life. As we conclude this series, let's live like that. Let's live like this is the first day of the rest of our life. Let's live passionately, love completely. Let's learn humbly like Jesus did. And when the time comes, let's leave boldly. Let's live a no regrets life and leave this earth without holding anything back. I appreciate your attention. We're going to sing a song of invitation. If anybody wants to make a decision, last week we had a couple people rededicate their lives. We were excited about that. If anybody wants to rededicate, if you want to place your membership, or if you just want to talk about Jesus and maybe make a decision for him, we're going to sing a song of invitation. I'm going to be right over here, and we encourage you just to come meet me right over here, and let's do it today. Let's not hold anything back. Let's do it today.